All
Hello.
right. Hi,
Hi. You are Dan Reichart.
that's correct. That's me.
Interestingly enough, there is a person who works for Game Informer. His name is Dan Reichart.
I did not know that. There's also a baseball player out there, amateur ball player named Dan Reichert. So go figure.
Ah,
We're out there.
talented guys, all of you Dan Reicharts. It's good that we haven't heard of like a rapist or like a serial killer named Dan
Yeah,
Reichart.
I'm very glad I have not bundled in there with the Ted Bundys or something like that.
It reminds me of the episode of The Simpsons where there was a cartoon character on a TV show named Homer Simpson. Anyways,
Uh,
not talking about that. We're talking about the most memorable moments of the generation. Dan,
there are a lot.
I know it's really hard to pick one, but if you had to pick one.
Whew, you're putting me on the spot, but in general, I'd have to say the most memorable moment was for me. It was Half-Life 2. It's a PC spot, I know, but it just absolutely blew my mind that this game came out and was miles, light years ahead of everything else that was even close on the generation at the time. I mean, I think it came out around the same time that Perfect Dark Zero came out, and
Came out
people
2004, which was like the GameCube Xbox era.
Am I that far back? Maybe I
Yeah,
should jump ahead a little bit.
yeah, that
Sorry
was
for
last generation.
that. Wow. That's how indelible that game was. It is just absolutely seared into my brain as such a great game. But
Episode 2 came out with Orange Box, which was more recent.
okay.
So that
Uh,
counts. The ending of
yeah,
Half-Life 2 Episode 2 was amazing.
well, it definitely was. And Team Fortress is one of those games where on my Steam playlist right now, I think I've run out of digits to count how many hours I've played on it. So it's pretty awesome. But if we move forward, one of my most memorable moments that I can definitely think of this generation is picking up my Xbox 360. I got it very shortly after launch, and I was like super stoked for it. I could not believe like I actually managed to secure one. I got a retail price, so I didn't have to shell out crazy amounts of money for it. This is about 2 weeks after launch or so, and yeah, Red ringed on me within 3 days of owning the thing. So,
Wow.
kind of mixed emotions, but definitely memorable. It just choked me up so bad because I mean, everyone's excited. They get the new machine. They're ready to play the hell out of it. I got in a little bit of time with Cameo Elements of Power, which was a junky game to say the least. But
Yeah.
is the next generation. I was stoked to be playing it, and yeah, red rings on me within 3 days. Eventually, I did get a replacement for Microsoft, but the novelty had kind of worn off. Everyone else had one on the block by that point that I got my replacement in.
Wow. I'm not gonna lie. I absolutely love the fact that you picked that as your most memorable moment, which really solidifies my awesome expertise in hiring good people for the website at geekbench.com if you haven't listened. Because I've been talking to other people, and obviously, if you're listening to this, you've heard the other stories. I
Yep.
wanted someone to bring up an event and not quite a game, and also not quite a triumph, but also a tragedy.
Yeah, I've
You
hit them
nailed
all.
it because it's so interesting. Because like everybody had a red ring. I had four. I went through
Oh,
like,
really?
well, okay, so like I bought a 360 over eBay. It said it would ship at 8 weeks. It took 12, so I got a full refund. So I got my first 360 for free. That
No,
was
that's not bad.
awesome.
Yeah, that's a good deal. I'll
Red
take that.
ring. Go to Circuit City. I buy a Black Elite, E74 or whatever. Okay, there was like a two ring, and then I got another one from a crazy dude on Craigslist in the middle of nowhere. That was a one ring.
Oh,
And then I got a fourth Xbox, and that was the one I was working on. And it's those moments where you're like driving back, hoping that your console will get fixed because you want the console to play the games. Or I remember a time when like I was playing Mass Effect 2 and my Xbox was standing up vertical, and my roommate knocked it over and it
mm,
scratched the disc. So we spent a whole day driving around trying to find Mass Effect 2 like the day it came out used. And like
uh,
it was those experiences that like they were sad, but they brought out the best in us. We were just like so passionate about the consoles and the games, and we were crazy back in 2005 and 6.
well, fun fact about Mass Effect 2, actually. My name is in the credits for that game.
What voodoo magic did you do to get into that?
I was working for Electronic Arts at the time as a games tester, and I was on their PC hardware lab. And yep, my name is in the credits. That was one of the games I got to work on at the time.
So wait, you're telling me that you actually have real world experience being in the game industry?
Yeah, absolutely.
That is another podcast for another day. Oh boy,
Fair
I want to
enough.
hear about that.
Yeah,
But
no
uh,
worries.
but yeah. So anyways, we're here to talk about the most memorable moments. Was there a most memorable game for you?
Well, now you've piqued my interest. Mass Effect 1 actually was an amazing game. It was super interesting for me. But instead, I'll go with something a little bit more unique. Brutal Legend. Um,
I love Brutal Legend.
yeah, just a fantastic game. And you know, I love all of Tim Schafer's stuff. I mean, the guy is pure genius when it comes to producing entertaining, hilarious games. But at the time, Jack Black was really starting to hit his most popular in terms of exposure on the big screen, exposure in, with his albums, and just to see like such a mega star in the game, and then have him surrounded by all these, I mean, legends of rock. I mean, you have Ozzy Osbourne on the freaking cover. I mean,
Lemmy,
it's just
Lemmy was in there.
unbelievable. I mean, I picked it up again for the PC, part of a Humble Bundle recently, and it still stands the test of the time. The jokes are still just as funny. The voice acting is still just as spot on. The gameplay itself is still pretty good. So yeah, I
Is
mean,
the RTS element still as surprising and disappointing?
um, it, it didn't take me by surprise as much this time. Obviously, I was prepared for it. My recall from the original playthrough I had with it was that the RTS was a little bit too easy, if anything, and it was it broke up the pacing of the game. But I don't mind it. I thought it was a good way to kind of combine a few different elements into the game. And I mean, Tim Schafer is one for doing that. I mean, so you don't really get surprised by anything he puts in there because you just expect the surprising.
I really was expecting that to be a platformer action game with some racing in it, but it just
Ah,
shifted to RTS, and most people got really turned off. But I stuck with it, and it worked out. I really enjoyed that game.
yeah, no,
Um,
it's a fantastic game.
if I were to pick a favorite game of the generation, I mean, in my head, I wrote a column about this a while ago about like what journalists and what most people would consider and what they should consider, and
Yep.
obviously the big ones are like Uncharted 2 and Portal or Portal 2 and Fallout 3 and all those other games. My favorite is BioShock 1. That
Yeah.
I'm a huge BioShock person. I can go into BioShock forever, but more
Well, would you kindly
interestingly,
tell me about it?
oh God, don't even start. And I'm actually gonna buy the BioShock Infinite Burial at Sea later tonight.
Ah,
When I scrounge up $15 for 90 minutes of gameplay. Anyways, not important. What's important is that you and I both love Street Fighter. Is that correct?
that's right. I'm passionate about fighting games for sure.
Wow, I'm so glad we have another FGC person because I am huge into the FGC. I covering events and going to tournaments and watching them live on Twitch, and I
Mm.
have easily over 1,000 hours in Street Fighter 4 alone.
Oh,
So
nice.
we're gonna have a conversation and hopefully a live stream gameplay of us going at it. But yes,
From what I saw, I understand that near a tournament caliber player. I don't think I'm quite up to
semi,
snuff on that. So
semi. I got pretty
semi.
far at CEO this year, dive kick.
Oh,
Um,
really?
I almost got top eight. I was really close. And then I'm somewhat competent at Street Fighter. Um, if I play like a legit professional like Flash Metroid or Wolfcrone, I'll get blown
Mm.
up, but I can hold my own. But that
Yeah, see, I can't. I'm still having difficulty when it comes down to mechanics aspects of it. I mean, like I have no problems pulling off fireballs and stuff, but when it's just to get to more difficult skills like focus
yeah,
attack dash
FADC.
canceling and stuff, the muscle memory is just not there. And I mean, I this last generation, I think most of my muscle memory went into Guitar Hero and and
Uh,
Rock Band instead.
I
So
was there too.
you got to dedicate your time somewhere.
I,
But
I'm so glad we're on the same page about this. We're gonna have another podcast, a separate one about Street Fighter, because that's easily one of the most underrated games of the generation. Absolutely
absolutely.
revived fighting games is still phenomenal. Just like you play that game and it is perfect the way you play it. It's
So tight, and
sublime.
I mean, you got to really appreciate that Seth Killian really kind of helped keep that community together when Street Fighter wasn't doing as well as it could have been. And you got to appreciate that Capcom recognized, hey, let's go out into the community, pick out someone who can help us bind everything together, get feedback, put it together, solid and tight on every aspect down to it. I mean, constantly tweaking things like even going into frame data and realizing, okay, we need to improve this to make it professionally playable, as opposed to I mean, Mortal Kombat's fine, but you just get the sense it's a little bit more sloppy compared to the way that Street Fighter's working.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, we could go into forever about,
Yeah.
them sticking with their guns with the art style and the focus, and then wanting to improve with Super Street Fighter, which was a great upgrade from Vanilla, which was kind of broken if you think about it. But
Agreed.
we don't have time,
No,
so
that's fine.
we're gonna go to the next person about their most memorable moments of the generation coming up right now.